week 1, how to manage your state. Now it's very important, these 12 steps are not going to be how to go and get a man from now, because you need to manage your state, your mind. Does that make sense? Yeah, because if you're not ready for him, and you're going to meet clued up men that will be able to see that you're not ready, believe it or not. There's going to be clued up men that know what questions to ask you, that you need to be ready for as well. So you need to know how to manage your state. Now, some of you may be wondering, why am I putting this up? What are your favourite three films that make you laugh, inspire you, make you cry, make you feel touched? Why would I ask that? Anybody?
It's going to at least create a conversation which is not just strictly like what do you do, what you don't do. Like, okay, I like Last Holiday with Queen Latifah, so
yeah,
we're not talking about go off on a tangent and make it a bit more interesting.
If you like to laugh, be inspired, and be happy, how does it make you feel? It's good. So if anything's going bad around you, and you was watching a film that made, I mean, I'm a Laurel and Hardy fan. You can tell I've got a crazy sense of humour. Bit crazy. I like the slapstick stuff like Leslie Nielsen, Airplane, Naked Gun, all that, because I'm a bit of an idiot. But I know I'm an idiot. The ones that don't think they're an idiot, that's a problem. But if you go to play.com, this is week 1. I will send you information about these as well, so don't worry if you miss, I'm going a little too quick. Go to play.com and allocate your new time to watch these and take notes on how you're feeling. This is the first week. Now the reason for that is there's going to be times when you're going to be feeling not too good, not too inspired, not too happy. Now by the way, play.com, the reason why I've said to go to play.com as opposed to Amazon is Amazon charges delivery. They don't. And their DVDs are a lot more cheaper. So, what I want you to do, stand up, quickly. Find someone you haven't spoken to before. And just share with them the 3 films that you like that you're going to order. Right, thank you, stay standing. Right, good. Has everybody shared the 3 films? The best 3 films? Oh, okay, you're going to no worry. Okay, then we're going to move on to the same thing with your favourite songs. Okay? Now, just focus. Now, speak to the same person because this is going to go on. I can see. Speak to the same person and your favourite 3 songs, whatever they are. Happy.
What songs
Okay, right. You found that interesting? No? What did you find interesting about that, Rachel?
It's just nice to talk to someone new and really think about it, because I never sit down and think about what are my 3 favorite songs. It's just nice to think, oh, this makes me feel this way. And how my 3 songs make me feel quite different each time. So depending on my mood.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else?
Do you know, when you talk about something you're passionate about, more of you shows, I think.
What have you learned from that?
It stimulates conversation.
And you can then do what with it? Link in with what?
With the conversation, with the topic.
With the man! Sounds like on the phone a friend. Everybody in the room knew I was going and you. Right, that's it. Now that could be a conversation you could ask him on a date as well, okay? Striking a conversation. Does that make sense? Also, it's for you. I'd get this on your iPod or your music, just play it in your car, on your phone throughout the day, because it's making you feel happy as well. If you having difficulty getting it or buying it or whatever, just YouTube it. It's going to be on YouTube. Every track's on YouTube now, even happy. Okay? Email me how you felt after this week. That's my email. I want to know. So that means you've got to do this task.
Des, can we ask the girls to copy us in? Because we'd love to get feedback as well.
Yeah, sure. Yep, info and but we're gonna you're gonna get an email from me on us on Monday anyway. Okay, so don't worry. Whenever you are stressed, do you think by applying this you'll feel better? Yeah. When you're stressed, who has a coping mechanism when you're stressed? Am I doing for time? Yeah, thank you. I haven't seen the 5 minutes up yet. You're doing the exercise, aren't you? You meant to be.
2 minutes.
Thank you. Whenever you're stressed, when you're stressed, think about it. When you're stressed, who in here honestly knows how to manage themselves, apart from Anna, who's stressed in there? But how do you do it? I'm only joking. How do you do it, Anna?
I smoke.
Right, okay. Apart from smoking, anyone else?
No, it does. It gives you 5 minutes to collect your thoughts and just you're away
Yeah, but
from everybody in the fresh air.
you're killing yourself in the process. I want about something positive that's not involving you reducing your life. That's not healthy.
Joking.
See, prime example. Have an apple. It's a bit more healthier than cigarettes. Anyone else?
I exercise.
You exercise. Excellent. You cannot. It's impossible. It's proven. It's impossible. Sonny puts video in. It's really cool with this, isn't it? Ready?
I was joking.
It's okay,
What's the
but yeah.
difference?
What was I saying? Sorry.
Exercise.
Sorry, yes. I have a short memory span, I don't know why. Yes, you exercise, it's impossible for you to be stressed while you're exercising. Because right off Anthony Robbins. I don't know what the reasons are, but it's impossible for you to be stressed. So whenever you're stressed, do you feel stressed when you're exercising?
Never.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so whenever you're stressed, that's what you do. So now not only have you can use that for asking about the men, but you can also use that to cope when you're feeling down. So it's hands up those of you who are going to do that exercise. Not for me first of all, but for you. Get those 3, so you can order the 3 DVDs from play.com. I'm not an affiliate, make any money from it, just go to play.com, order your 3 films. Do this every day, not order the film. We'll have shares in them. And then you'll feel better. Right, that's week 1. Is that easy enough task for you to do? That's the first week, what you're going to do. Managing your state, because when you're feeling lonely, depressed, or any of those negative associations, I want you to be able to manage that, and that will help you from now on. And I guarantee you, play when you're in the shower, in the bath, when you're in the car, those tracks. Second week, it's going to be a no negative thoughts week. As you notice, everybody should have a little mini jotter pad here. Okay? Now, if there's anything in there which is a aha moment that struck a nerve, or something that you really want to do that's connected, write it in there. Take it around with you, okay? So the 3 tracks and the 3 DVDs, put them in there, and you're carrying it away with you as a little reminder, and carry it in your purse with you all the time. So this is everybody got one? Yeah. Yep, brilliant. So if you realise how powerful your thoughts are, you would never think a negative thought. Do you know that? Do you know how powerful a negative thought is? Do you sometimes have hands up those of you that sometimes when you're stressed and you think negatively, you feel tired, drained. How many of you have spoken to someone on the phone for hours about negative, tearing someone to pieces? We've all been there. All that negative stuff. And when you put down the phone, you're exhausted. Yeah? But after today, when we're doing the exercises and when you're doing the expectations, all that stuff, you felt energized. You're happier, you're positive. Do you feel knackered? Right. So, what I want you to do for the second week is to manage your negative thoughts. What I want you to do is, when you have a negative thoughts, which is going to be interesting, first thing I want you to do is ask yourself, why am I thinking this? Why am I honestly thinking this negative thought? Whether it's linked with an ex, family members, family members just How many of you have family members that you wish they were just friends, that you could just get rid of? Can't choose your family, unfortunately. But ask yourself why you're thinking is because you're having that conversation with yourself. And with me personally, I used to have an argument with someone when I was married before and stuff, and one of the things I hated about myself, I drag it on for a day, 3 days, 4 days, because I was in that zone, and I never knew why, but I knew I was doing it. And then it was because it was attached with the meaning I was giving myself, giving the situation. Does that make sense? So if I'm giving a negative situation, say for example, I had a problem with people disagreeing with me, and I'd taken it really personally. And then I started working on myself and realised it's just a difference of opinion. And when I kept telling myself that it's a difference of opinion, I wasn't giving it the meaning that you're wrong, you made me feel more or less of a man, and all those negative situations. So now, any situations that happen, I ask myself, why am I thinking it? But it just bounces off. But that takes time to get to that stage. So this is a sign where you could start by doing that, by asking yourself, why am I thinking this? And where does negativity come from? It's come from somewhere. It's not just he's just coming late and you're disrespecting me because you're late, you're always late. How many of us, when we're stressed, we stack it up? One on top of each other, one on top of each other. From one little thing, we keep stacking it up and stacking it up and stacking it up. All of a sudden, you want to kill him. Based on a little thing where he was late. I'll give you an example. I remember a few years ago, I was going to meet my girlfriend at the time, her parents. Her parents lived in Liverpool, and we was going to meet them for the first time. And she lived in North London, she was a school teacher. Anyway, I knew she had a thing about me being late, and I live in Kent, South London, and she lived in North. So I was meeting her after school. So can you imagine the traffic getting there? But I wanted to look the part for her mum, because my mum brought me up to say you was the part and looked smart. So I went to the barbers and got myself all done. When I went to the barbers, I don't know if you know that Caribbean barbers, you could go in there and get done straight away, you got to wait 7 hours.
Yeah. Right.
So I was there for quite a long time. Anyway, I got there late, and you'd think that she caught me in bed with another woman when the way she reacted. And I was thinking, oh, I'm sorry, but she didn't understand why I was late, because it was the barber shop, and okay, I could have went the day before, but I couldn't. Anyway, to cut a long story short, her dad was very unreliable, and her dad promised to take her to Disneyland when she was older. And what happened was he met another woman, got married to her, and took her children. And she didn't go. Do you understand? Do you see the association? It wasn't about me being late. It was about the dad. So I've triggered unreliability, you've let me down, and in her mind, I'm her dad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How many of you can relate to that, maybe honestly with yourself or in past relationships and stuff? So do you see how that worked for her? Now I was getting it, and in the end I was so upset that I nearly wasn't going to go, and something said to me, let's just go. And we went there, and it was really good. I met her mum and everything was fine. But do you see how that could have triggered off because I was late? Any questions about that? You want to ask me? No? Okay. So ask yourself, where's the negativity come from? How can I change this to 3 positive ones? 3. The reason why I'm saying that is for you to look at the situation in 3 different positive ways. Instead of, I was at a funeral yesterday, and this girl was there, and she's a Facebook friend, and she knew I was having this event today. So she said to me, oh, how's your event going on? I said, oh, it's going well. She goes, oh, I hope it goes well for you. I said, oh, thank you very much. And she goes, why are you saying it like that? Like you're making out that I'm taking the mickey. I said, sorry? She goes, well, the way you said it. So I said, well, how would you prefer me to say it? So I gave her a little NLP exercise. I said to her, is that the only way you could have interpreted how I said that? And I was genuinely just saying, thank you very much. And then she goes, NL what? What do you mean? And do you know sometimes you're trying to explain something to somebody and you just think there's no point at that moment in time. But do you see how you can look at, that could have got into an argument, that little thing, and it could have escalated. But how many of you have personally been responsible for situations like that, where Just 2? 3? Everyone? Yeah, we've all done it. But this can only work for you if you work on yourself. And don't just think, oh yeah, I'm not going to do it. If you start working on yourself, when you have your next relationship, which you will have, he's going to trigger something with you, and if you just don't give it any meaning whatsoever, as Anthony Robbins says, it's just, it is. If he's late, he's just late. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not, oh, he's late, and all this stacking, all of a sudden you want to kill him, and then you finish with him because of that, and then you just carry on and carry on and carry on. What other thought could this be? Other options looking at that as well. What other thoughts can this be? And you need to work on this for the second week. Okay? Any questions? Who has conversations with themselves? It's just me. I tell you, I'm that bad. I'm arguing with myself. I'm kicking myself. Shut up, this. You're wrong. I don't. I'm just joking. But it's very important. Your self-talk is very important that you tell yourself. Because if you're telling yourself crap, you're going to feel crap. If you're telling yourself wrong, bad things, it's going to interpret that way. Focus on the positives, and that's what you should get. Who agrees with that?
Yeah.
Yep. Focus on the negatives, and you'll get that too. As Nova was saying earlier on before, you know, try to be positive, stuff like that. Now, as your experience become words you're telling yourself, your words then become your thoughts. Does that make sense? Yeah? Your thoughts then become your ideas. Your ideas then become the actions you're going to be taking out. Your actions become your daily habits, because we all have habits. Your habits then become your personality. Your personality determines your destiny. So always talk to yourself positively. In the shower, especially when you're in the shower, just talk to yourself. How many of you in here love yourself? How many of you love you personally?
Pardon?
How many of you in here love yourself? How many of you don't? Shadow of a doubt. If you can't love yourself, how can you give love to the next guy? How do you feel when you're in a relationship where it's going really well and you really adore that man and you want to give? I know some of you may be having challenges with that, but how many of you feels really happy when you're giving your love to someone that you really love? Yeah? Feel good?
Yeah.
Shower, bath, driving, bed. When I mean bed, I mean when you're lying in there morning and night. Because I'm assuming you're all single. Right, so that's week 2. So I'm focusing on the minds. Week 3. How to establish if he is right for you in your first date, which Nova covered as well. Now, you need to establish what exactly you're looking for. What your values are, what your beliefs are, what your goals are. And you need to determine, when you meet him, how you're going to find out those questions are compatible with those values and those beliefs. But you need to ask it in a subtle way. Who was in here that said they went straight in and demanded, was it me, was it?
I asked her not to make it sound like the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. But you're going to be a lot more fluffy now, aren't you? Does she need to be a bit more fluffy? Yes. Isn't she so much more attractive and fluffy when she's just fluffy? It's men like women that fluffy. Is that right? CW? CJ?
CV.
Do you like women that are fluffy?
Yeah.
Amjad? Same thing, yeah? One question you must ask is, I've said this, what are your goals for the next 1, 3 and 5 years? Which I know I keep saying, but it's so important. This one question will save you lots of unwanted times and sex as well. How many of you slept with a guy in which you didn't even know have his phone number? Not me, I mean. And I can talk to you in
That must
confidence.
have been a great night.
His name was James, all right. Right, swiftly moving on. And then what you can say is, what positive things do you want to achieve in your life in the next 3 to 5 years? That gets him speaking about himself. This one question, which would help you to prevent dating the wrong man for a few to several months. Guarantee you that. I know some of you in here, I know already been applying it. Shall I call you up? No, I'm joking, I won't say anything. But that's what you need to do. But you need to know, you need to have a plan in place. It's so important that you have that plan in place when you're meeting him. Yes, it might be an interview, why not? Why should it not be? This is more important than your career. So you need to know exactly, is this candidate compatible with me? Am I going to be employing him into my life, into my child's life? Remember, you know, if he doesn't like children, doesn't want any children, you have a child, next. There's lots of men out there that will take on board your child and be a good father to that. There's a lot of us out there.
They usually ask you back right away. So what are your plans?
That's the next round. Very good.
So what do you answer?
Elizabeth, you need to obviously know what he's going to ask you the same question back. So what are your goals? And you need to answer that in a subtle way as well. So what you could say is, depending if he says exactly what you say, say, I can't believe we want the same things. So, you know, we're compatible in that area. Then you can elaborate. If you want to be smart without answering it, you say, oh yeah, God, I want to get married in 3 years. Then you can say, oh, if you was to get married, would you do it over here? Would you want all your family? And get him talking about that. And then that way, you haven't answered him. You need to have a knack to do that. If you want to get a man to avoid questions, ask him about him, talk about himself. Find out what he's passionate about and ask about that. Sport, clothes, trainers. If he likes running a marathon, ask him, you know, what trainers do you use for the marathon? Why do you use those trainers? Is it Nike? He'll tell you. Yeah? He will. So you need to have your answer for that. He's going to ask you that, but you should have it already. Okay? How to understand men's brains and how to get to his heart fast. Apart from the sex, as we know, apart from the food, what other ways are there?
I feel they need to be needed, men.
For example?
Just, oh, my tire's flat, or can you do some DIY around my house, as simple as that.
Do you know if you got us to do something for you, to you it may, for example, he may come round and you can say, oh, I'm having problems changing the light bulb in the bathroom, right? Even though you can do it, all the strong, powerful, independent ones that I can do it, I don't need no man, and all this kind of stuff. Just this one occasion, if you said, you want to know how to get to his heart, and you said to him, can you change that? And he does it successfully, and you say, oh, thank you so much, I've been meaning to do that, just to lift him up a bit. Do you have any idea how that makes us feel? He's shaking his head, look. How does that make you feel?
Amazing. So true.
And does it make you, apart from the food and the sex, does it make your heart drawn to her more?
Makes you worry. You know, makes you want it more.
Now can you understand why those powerful, successful, independent women that want to do it all, no matter how much money they've got in the bank, no matter how fabulous they look, they're struggling to find that right man. Does that make sense? Because in her world, she's not letting us come in there to feel needy, like a man. Some women get it, and some women don't. There are friends of yours that you most are thinking, how the hell did she get him? Why is she married and I'm not? I'm more successful than her, I'm more attractive than her, all those associations. Some of them get it. Because their focus is, I want to be a wife, I want to have a serious relationship. Who do I need to be to attract that type of man? It's not about yourself. You need to think about, if you understand what man's needs are, and you give that to him. For example, Nova, you're pregnant, okay? If you, anything he does for you to help you with the baby, and you make a big, because I know you're independent and stuff, but if you made him feel absolutely out of this world, he'll worship you. Seriously, it's such a big thing, because that's how we feel. We feel needed. Once we feel needed, we can look after you. That's the way to our heart. Try it and see. What are men's #1 complaint about women? Who knows that? Talk too much? Anyone else?
Drama.
Drama? Anything else? Just 2. Don't you know? Come on.
Fast.
Don't listen. Who said don't listen? Don't listen. Anyone else?
Nagging.
Nagging.
Too independent.
She wants to change. Who honestly has met a guy and they really want to change him into the man that she wanted? Hands up those who've done that. Honestly. Kind of. That means blatantly yes, doesn't it? Alright, so you've met him and you want to mould him into little plasticine, how you want him to be and how you want him to be. But remember, you're not how 100%, as Genevieve said, how he wants to be. You want to be as well. You're never going to find perfection unless it's myself. Joking. But you're never going to find perfection. And that's what the expectations, what Genevieve was saying earlier. All those expectations are all the fluffy stuff. What's the core stuff? What are the values and the beliefs? What's most important? You know, one of my clients the other day, she went out on she told me the kind of man that she wants on a date. She's 37, I think, and she says he needs to be between 35 and 41. So you got to think with numbers? So what do you mean? So if you met him when he's 34, or he's 42, 43, or anything, she goes, no. And she's still single, and she's fussy, and she went out on a date the other day, and all those buttons were ticked, but he was, I think, 43. She didn't have any children, she wanted a man with no children, he doesn't have any children. She met up with him, he texted me back and he said, yeah, everything went great, it was fine, I want to see her again. He's blatantly told her, but he's a bit shy, he didn't take her number. So she said to me, I said, how did it go? She goes, yeah, it was alright. You know, you can tell. So I said, okay. I said, well, what was the problem? She said, well, I don't know, just the chemistry wasn't there. Now, there's some women that want to meet a man just to, bang, that ignite, that spark. And I'll be honest with you, I think when you start to get 30, 35 onwards, your expectations are going to change when you was in your 20s. In your 20s, they can come and go. But as you're getting older, you need to compromise and look at the whole picture. You might be 5'10", but he may be 5'8", but everything else is ticked. He adores your child, he wants to marry you, but you're waiting for the 6'3" guy because you want someone that's taller than you, because when you go out, you don't look weird. Does that make sense? So she's then saying to me, well, she's not really feeling him. So I said to her, but he wants your number, she didn't want to give me his number. So that's a potential good. He's shown an interest in him. Now, I knew when I was coaching her, I knew that she wouldn't be very easy, but I didn't think it would be as, she didn't want to meet him a second time. So, the next day rolls on, I suppose. But I guarantee you, if she doesn't change the way she's thinking, she's going to go into her early 40s, 30s, and she's going to either end up picking up someone that's not on her level just to have a child, or she's going to be on alone for a very while, or picking up the wrong men and blaming them. So what's your #1 complaint then, ladies? What do you reckon? Women's #1 complaint about men?
There aren't enough of them.
Anyone else? You're like a lion! Anyone else?
They're all gay.
You're all gay. Anyone else?
They never listen.
They never listen. Anyone else? Liars. Who agrees with the liars? He never listens to me. How many of you found that a lot of men don't just listen? Do you know sometimes when you're talking and talking and talking and talking, we do switch off. Our brain can't take any more. Only if it takes a certain amount. For example, if this was a men's group, when I say sit down, they sit down. If I say a minute, they say a minute. As you know, it's like a classroom. I've got to keep sit down, because you want to still talk. There's 4 women over there. When we're just about to start, they wait until just before I'm starting my presentation. They're exchanging phone numbers. Exchanging phone numbers. Oh, we're going to network and connect. And you've had from 9 o'clock this morning till 1:30, and they're doing it now.
We didn't see each other at lunchtime.
So what did you do in the break?
I was somewhere
Looking at the
else.
floor? Alright, but can you see how we're different? Right? So, he never listens to me. Right. So your brains are wired differently. Do you understand that? It's wired completely differently. I mean, I could do a whole day on this and how this works. When men are stressed, how do we react? What do we do? Beer, going to a cave. Who understands about the cave?
Are you going next time, okay?
Yes, I am. I'm just drinking my water. Can I, please? Thank you. I know. Where was I? Because my short memory's back. When we're in stress, yeah. Right. When we're stressed, our brain is telling us, our brain is going like that 15 million times when we're stressed, and we need to solve the problem. And the only way we can solve the problem is by taking time out from the whole situation, away from everyone, and then we're taking our time out. Now, in your relationship sense, when that's happening, what you want to do is the opposite of that. What do you want to do? Talk, which is the opposite of what we want. How many of you had a relationship where you want to talk to him about the situation, but you're not getting anything back from him? He's disappeared or he's gone, and then you're stacking up. Is it another woman? Does he not love me? What's he going on? I feel rejected, and that's supposed to be all linked with your stuff from earlier. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's not about him. But when we are stressed, we need that time. So when we take that time out, we work it out. Oh yeah, God, yeah. That's what it is. And then we come back into your life, is that everything's fine. Yeah. By then, you're livid. Because you know he's going to come back. So when he comes back, you're literally going to kill him. That's when he wants to talk. But you wanted to talk days ago. But he needed that time just to, does that make sense? Yeah. So when he's like that, there's no point in, because he will come back to you like a rubber band. He will come back. Does that make sense? Yeah. We need time. But you need to talk to resolve the problem. And what's this got to do with the next 12 weeks? Well, you're going to meet a man in these 12 weeks, and is it to your advantage to understand this? To know this? Whether it's this 12 weeks or going into the new year. Okay? We need time to reflect as we need to figure out how to solve the problem. We are problem solvers. That's why when you come to us with a situation, we are always providing solutions. Have you noticed that? You say to us, oh, look, I've got this problem, but all you want to do is talk to us about it. You don't want us to tell you what to do. But we always tell you this is what you need to do. Because when we ring up one of our mates, we're not ringing him up to talk. We're ringing him to talk to solve how we can solve this problem. Because we haven't got time to talk for hours about nothing. Because we don't. Our brain's not wired like that. Does that make sense? Yeah? We must feel needed because we want to be able to protect you and look after you and the family, even if you don't have a family. We want to be able to protect you. When a man feels that he can protect you, look after you, how many of you have been in a situation where you're with a man and a situation arises and you feel protected? For example, Jen, when we was sorting out a problem at the hotel, and then you was a bit of a flap, and then when I came here, it was all sorted. She just laughed because she was stressed. But I came and I sorted it all out, and I know she felt protected, not in that relationship sense. Sorry?
It's all that positive energy you're oozing.
I know. Thank you.
Back me up.
But I know it's Jen didn't answer that, but it's all right. But yeah, but in a relationship sense, we want to look after you. We want to be known as the man in the relationship, and that's why when some women are in relationships and they want to do it all, we can't get in. We can't.
It takes too long.
It takes too long.
It does. When we want things done, we want it done straight away. It takes too long.
For example.
So if I give something to someone, by the time I've explained it, I've done it myself.
For example. That's my point.
The light bulb.
The light
I
bulb.
want the light bulb changed now, and not in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or
Okay,
in half an hour.
but that's in your world.
Yeah.
He could be, supposing the reason why he hasn't done it, that he's so focused on preparing something for you as a surprise. Or he's focusing on you and your family or something like that.
But what if he's just watching the TV and then he'll do it later and then later?
Even though, let's focus on what I just said. See, now you're bringing... Do you see what she's doing? Associations, so that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But then we all do it. Yeah, but he could be watching TV, he could be, but he could be not.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
And the meaning you're giving it is negative, and then it piles up. And then she says, oh, he doesn't care, and then he's, oh, I've got to do it myself, and the light bulb's gone, and he left the toilet seat up, and blah, 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 and it all stacks up.
Yeah, but sometimes you can see them sitting there watching TV. I have no light, I'm trying to wash my hair, there's no lights in the bathroom.
I mean, that's just an example. I mean, you can't go in the bathroom in the dark because you'll break your neck.
What happens is that is a realistic thing.
Okay, but there's ways of communicate. I know you're frustrated because the way, I can imagine the way you end up telling him, which is not a loving and warm way. But if it's not the light bulb, there'd be other situations that you can think of. But if you just allow him just to, we do take our time because you want things done. But there's things that you guys do that we complain about as well. So, sorry? Loads of things. Loads of things. For example, like we were saying, we said earlier about you want to change us, accept us for the way we are. We like football. We watch football in the week. Don't come around and bother us when you know the football's on. Because we like our football. Okay? When the game's on, don't walk past the TV at that point when the guy's going to score. Shall I carry on? I've got a whole day, I've got this stuff. Okay? When we want to take time out, we want to go out with our boys, we don't need 15 million questions, we're just going out with our boys. We don't need to tell you about our friend's business with his wife and they're going through problems because we don't care about that. Does that make sense? We're different. Two-way thing.
Do you know? At a family dinner, my cousin told me about some gossip about her boyfriend's friend's relationship, and I was like, Ryan, what, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? She's like, tell him, Donna. And I was like, how did you not ask? And I was dismayed that he never asked his friend.
We don't care. Because we're not interested in that stuff. If he's talking about more positive, productive stuff that we want to know, like sport, like football, like those types of things, we're different. We haven't got time to sit here and talk about, you know, oh, he had his girlfriend and a baby, you know, how much did the baby weigh? We don't know.
The one thing that I would say that we hear a lot of frustration with women when we do a lot of coaching is women love detail. Okay, girls, how much does want the detail? When we talk to our friends, we get all the nitty gritty, we get it all down to the minimum. I think to the T. I mean, I've been with my husband 26 years. I've had to accept there's no detail. No matter how much I say, well, what did they say about this and what was that? And you know, and we worked together as well, and the lack of detail drove me mad until I learned to accept it. And it was only when I learned to accept that's what men are like. Men do not do detail. It doesn't matter how much you try and do any of that, it's just not going to happen. So it's something you just need to accept and use our girlfriends for.
That's right. How many of you, honestly, have studied this stuff, how men and women's brains are different. Really. How many of you, honestly? Just 2?
Go see Men from Mars and Women from Venus.
See? And there's other people.
Yeah.
And then we need to profess as well. We want to provide actually financially and emotionally as well. So I know there's some women that may earn more than the men, but when we feel that we can provide for you financially and emotionally, that's another way to our heart. And profess to be proud of you. We want to be able to profess our love for you and be confident that you have our back as well. It's so important that, you know, as a man, as a woman, that no matter what, she has his back. No matter what happens. This is the way to our heart. Excluding the sex, excluding the food. So we get those on top, that's a double whammy, triple whammy. Some women get it and some don't. We must be able to feel like a man. With your help, we need your help for that, believe it or not. So, that week, there's a slide there which may be the other way, but there's a book which I'm going to come back to. I want you to get, which I'm going to come back to. The book to help you with that as well. Week 5. How to get honest feedback from men so you can understand yourself more. How many of you are friends with any of your exes? So all the remainder of you hate them? Or you don't know? So forced.
For the children.
Okay.
Otherwise, no.
Alright. How many of you that you could just have a proper conversation with them? And you could say, do you know something? I want to ask you this. And they'll give you an honest answer and you got that. Yeah? Right, not many. Right. I want you to find 3 men week 5 that you know very well and ask them what they like and dislike about you. Whether it's an ex, whether it's a work colleague, whether it's a brother, but they need to be honest. Just say to them, be honest, I won't take it personally. You mustn't take it personally, okay? So if he says, be careful what I say there myself. Deep breath. If he says to you, you are very controlling. If I was to date you, you'd be a control freak for me. Some of you in there know who you are, maybe you fall into that category. Then take that on board as positive feedback. Friends, family, or exes if you can. Exes are great if you're on a level with him, to say, look, do you know something? When we was together, what did you really love about me? Focus about the positives first. And then, okay, what did you really dislike about me as well? Ask them 100% to be honest and elaborate. Now be prepared that you may get upset. But don't take it personally. You write down, do not, your name, will not take this feedback personally, but learn from it and take it on. Because that is usually a trait of you that you're carrying to your previous relationships and your next ones coming up. So if you identify, for example, with myself, I used to, like I said before, I used to carry on arguments and get upset for days. I'd drag it on and drag it on and drag it on. And now I've shortened that to weeks. I've now shortened that a lot to the point where I'm asking myself the right questions. What is this about? What's this linked with? How else can I look at this situation? And yeah, I do get upset, but it wasn't as long as it used to be before. Which does help. And you ask yourself, or to ask yourself, based on their answers, are they really right? Because remember, when we used to do, you're going to get these men that are going to come here in the afternoon, and what they're going to say, you may disagree with them, but you can't make them wrong. That makes sense. This is their opinion based on that. Any questions?
What happens if you don't have to do that? And don't say work colleagues?
Well, you only can go with what you have. It couldn't be me, Anna, because I don't know you.
Hmm?
It couldn't be me, because I don't know you. So if you only got one, then you only can run with one. Yeah? Just run with what you've got. I use 3 because if you get 2, then it's better than 1. If you've got 1, then just use that. But it's basically getting you to learn how you are perceived by men on the outside. Because how many of you really asked a man that question? What do you say? Say no?
I ask them because I know I'm very bold and in your face, so I like to see what they say about me, and they say I'm intimidating.
You're intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
For example?
Probably the way I stare when they're speaking. That's what they hold.
That your stare is perceived as what? Intimidating?
Go look them right in the eye.
Like you're looking at me now? I can see. Okay. Alright, thank you. Anyone else?
They say I have a poker face.
Okay.
They say I have a poker face that I not very easy to read.
Oh, okay.
That's what I interpret them saying, but they're really saying intimidating. That's what they're saying.
Mm.
I get
I'm
scary.
stubborn.
You get scary.
Yeah, I get too smart.
Scary, too smart.
Too scared, too smart.
You're too smart for them.
Scary.
Who? Somebody.
Too smart.
No, it's not too smart. It's fine.
Okay.
Too quick a brain, it's just,
Scary.
apparently it's just, before they finish talking, I finish their sentence and I'm on to the next thing. Like, okay, done that conversation.
So he can't talk. Yeah. When you feel that you need to say that, just like count to 5. Just count to 5, and then let him speak. And that way, he will deal with that. Anybody else? Stubborn.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I was told that as well. Still got stubborn ways, but it's not as bad as it used to be before. For example.
Won't change my mind about a topic or to make a decision.
You're just set in your ways.
Yeah.
That's it.
You won't change. But
That's
you
it. No
open
matter
your
what.
mind.
Even though.
But I'm right.
But even though you deep But do you do that honestly? It's Michelle, isn't it? Do you honestly do that when you know? Do you sometimes go so far that you know you're wrong, but you can't come back because you want to be strong and wrong, so you keep going?
No, it's because I don't want to compromise, because there's something he's asking and I don't want to compromise on that. Because he doesn't want to compromise. If I say, oh, all right, then so we'll have it my way then. It's like, no, can't we have it in the middle? So then I just say, no.
Interesting. How many of you can relate to that? Yes? Okay. Name one thing that men and women do that are different when a stressful situation arises. So there's a stressful situation arises, me and you in a relationship, and there's a situation where there's a stressful situation. I mean, I gave you a bit of a clue in the beginning. How would you deal with it, and how would I deal with it?
A woman might cry, a man wouldn't. If there was
Cry?
something-
Yep. Might cry out of what? Frustration?
Yeah.
Why are you frustrated? Because you can't get. Why would you cry?
Maybe it's, I don't know, it could be a death in the family, it could be something that you're just not happy about.
Or you could be a build-up of the frustration.
Yeah, or frustration, yeah.
I think we get maybe hell-bent on emotion, and I know I spoke to someone and he looked at just the facts and was able to make it so much clearer, and we get like clouded by emotion.
How many of you are really emotional and get really emotional? How many of you get really emotional that you feel as though you can't even control it, but you just, and you know he's going to be upset, and you know how you're going to react to him, he's going to go crazy, but you just feel as though you can't control it. He's told you, when I'm stressed, don't call me, you're looking for a reason to communicate to him just to make sure everything's all right. Text him or contact one of his mates, which is the wrong thing to do as well, etc. When we need that space, do that as well. This is the book. Write this down, I need you to get, which will tell you what could he be thinking. How many of you have read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? How many of you still have it at home? How many of you read it in the last 6 months? No hands go up. Please read it. If you go to YouTube, those of you that don't have it, if you go to YouTube and type in Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, the audio version of that is there for free. John Gray's reading it out. Okay? So you can listen to that. All what I'm saying and more is all in there. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Just go to YouTube if you don't want to write the book. Get it on, convert it to an MP3, listen to it on your phone when you're driving or in the bath or whatever, and then you're learning more about men.
Which one is better out of the two books?
They're both as good, but they're slightly different ways, different explanations.
When I read that book about Men Are From Mars and
Women Are From Venus.
one of the things I got confused about, because in terms of men going to the caves, etc., 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 some of that could also be a behavior where he's withdrawing from that relationship, he doesn't want to be involved with you anymore. So how do you know the difference between when he's going into the cave or when he's...
That's going to depend on what's been going on prior to that. It's difficult to answer that, one, but if he's been going into his cave daily, that's a message. Does that make sense? You have to create a big cave in the garden for him to go into. Okay. Am I doing for time, okay? 1 more minute. Right. So far, we've covered 5 weeks. How many of you in here are comfortable each week to do those tasks on a serious note? How many of you are uncomfortable? Which one are you uncomfortable with? Donna?
I haven't got 3 male friends, I don't know what I'm going to do about one.
One?
Yeah, but
what?
I just have friends, so it really doesn't count.
Okay.
Because
Ask him, just ask him this. What's his name?
Paul.
Paul, say Paul. Just want to be honest with me. If you was to date me, what do you think that you'd love about me if you was dating me? And what you dislike? Just ask him that. That's it. Yeah? And then take from that what you want. Don't worry about the other two, just focus on that. And don't give it any meaning apart from it's about you and what you need to learn. So he may say to you, he may surprise you. He may say to you, well done, you know, you're lovely, but I couldn't go out with you because I just don't feel like I can communicate to you in an emotional level because you seem quite cold. I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying, now, if someone tells you that, you need to take that on board and don't take it personal. Now, you may want him to elaborate on that, but if he's a good friend, he'll be honest with you. Does that make sense? So you need to choose the right guy, not a guy that wants to sleep with you, tell you what you want to hear, and all of a sudden, because you're going to be opening yourself up in a way. So it must be a guy that you can connect with. If you're having difficulty with that, okay, order a couple more books about understanding about men then. Does that make sense? Yeah? All on Amazon. Then I want to ask you, where do these positive and negative traits come from? If I was to interview your last 3 ex-partners, if you had just 2, then fair enough. What would they say positive and negatively about you? So stand up. Oh God. I know, Zaina. I know. Sorry, this is how can. I know. Sorry. Up again. This isn't the gym. Sorry. Exercises. You'll thank me in the end. Right. Stand up and then go and find someone you haven't spoken to in the room, please. And I want you to answer. Ask Take a seat, please. Thank you. Right, was that interesting? Yeah. What was interesting about finding out what you think your exes would say positively and negatively about you. Anybody want to share? Pay attention, are we? What did you learn from that? What did you learn from reflecting about what you thought your ex would say negatively and positively?
You have to be honest with yourself.
You have to be honest with yourself. Yeah.
Say, you know, yeah, I do have that weakness or that too much of strength.
Anybody want to share what he would have said? Positively. That'd be easier. Bossy.
Yeah.
Is that positive or negative? Bossy, anyone else?
Are we looking at negative?
Someone's mumbling.
Are we looking at negative or positive?
Whatever.
Positive, they can be themselves.
Negative.
Negative, I can be stubborn.
Stubborn. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? So, as far as I'm concerned, all your exes were happy with you. And you're perfect women. That men are just waiting out there just to snap up.
He would have said that I'm a great homemaker in terms of like looking after him and looking after our life, but negatively I don't make him feel needed as much as maybe he would want to feel like, because I'll be like, okay, I don't want to.
You want to do it all?
I don't. If I give so many chances, and then I'm like, okay, let me just help you, and then I don't know to what extent like am I supposed to let him just keep doing his own thing for years, and I can see everything spiraling out of control. But I just know, okay, a little bit of support here and there I can help. But he would have preferred to just deal with it his own way, regardless if it meant
in our own time.
losing everything.
Yeah. In our own time,
yeah.
It's different to your time is like the next 3-4 days. His time is 2-3 weeks, whenever. So it's not as a priority for you. So that's where you two need to communicate and just say, and then you should explain to him, listen, when I want something done, let's see if we can meet halfway because it's important to me. And then that way you communicate. We don't really let them know how we feel about that, do we? We can't read your mind, by the way. It's another thing that women expect us to do. We can't read your mind, it's possible.
So you have to say, I want the light bulb changed in the next
You need
10
to
minutes.
break it down to us what you want. Isn't that right, Jen?
Mm-hmm.
Say to us, I need you to pick me up at 8 o'clock on Friday, and I don't want you to be late because I'm taking 2 hours to get myself ready. I just want to come out and go. I hate sitting in my house in my heels, and I want to be using these heels to walk with instead of walking in my kitchen with.
And also to answer Sabina's question about the light bulb, you can ask it nicely in a feminine way.
Yes.
Oh darling, I really need to wash my hair. So it's really a matter of how, like if you say, oh, I need this in 10 minutes, that's pressure.
Pressure. Because we're being told what to do.
And you may be reluctant, but if you say it nicely, in a loving way, then
or we have texts.
use your assets.
Or just text him and say, honey, I really appreciate if you could change the light. I'll tell you how to get him to do what you want him to do. Let him know that after he's done that, it will enables you to do X with him after. So, for example, when the light bulb changes, this works. If the light bulb, if you want him to do,
if he changes the light bulb and I look nice for him afterwards because I can wash my hair and do my makeup, gold.
It's gold, right? Usually sex-related works every single time. Every single time. If you say to him, I'll give you an example. If you say to him, oh, my light bulb, can you just change the light bulb? I mean, using the light bulb as a situation, but let's say, for example, you needed a cupboard moved in another room or something needed doing, and you said to him, oh, the reason why I want that moved is that then I could move the bed over there, and once you've done that, I've got surprise for you. His focus is going to be on the surprise. He will do it as quick as he wants. Is anything else you want me to do? Like a lucky dog. But if you want him to do something, find out what he likes, whether it's his favourite meal or whether he likes you to dress up or whatever it is. Then if he knows when he does that, he's going to get this. I guarantee you he will do that every single time for you.
So why is it? Is this, I get this asking for help, and I have a problem with asking for help. Okay, I get that you guys need to feel needed. So where is the fine line from asking them to do something to coming off as nagging? From your point
it's,
of
it's
view.
the way you ask. As Nova hit it right, there's a way of asking. There's a way of fluffy asking. And I understand in your remit, I know that you might be a little bit challenged to do that, but just try it. It's the way that you ask us. Because you're gonna do, remember, our mums used to nag us growing up. How many of you mums nagged you when you was growing up? All of us have got mums nagging you up. So when you start nagging us like your mum, we're just gonna go into, oh God, she's nagging. But if we know, actually, honey, it's the way you ask. Oh, honey, can you do this for me, please? Or can you do that for me, please? And then after that, and then I'm going to cook you your favourite meal or whatever he likes to do. Linked in with that, it's not as demanding. Try it.
Play it dumb a bit.
I wasn't going to say that.
But it's true.
Play it dumb.
Play it dumb. Don't always be the know-all. Don't always know and think you know one better, and don't make it competitive. But he needs to be on a bit of a pedestal. Otherwise, you emasculate a man. It's very important for them to feel like a man. And like I was saying earlier on with the expectations, women tend to be more the stronger sex because we've had a much bigger growth period in the last 50, 60 years than men have. Men have kind of just plateaued, whereas women, as a whole society, have really grown, have come into their own. So, you have to allow a man to be a man. So play the feminine 1950s, 60s housewife a bit.
And also treat him the way you want to be treated. Would you like him to ask you the question directly?
The same way, yeah.
Yeah, do it now. No.
Suppose you meant to cook for him and he said to you, oh, where's my dinner? Think about it. That's the same way you say to him, when are you going to change the light bulb? But you see, it's the same way. We internalise that as the same way. Baby says to you, oh, I won't kiss you, but oh, hi, honey, and what's for dinner tonight? Is that a different question?
Yeah.
As opposed to, where's my dinner? Look at the time, what's going on? What have you been doing? You're talking on the phone, and then it all stacks up. And then you say, well, why don't you swipe the light bulb? And he gets into who can relate to those types of conversations, and he goes all out of control, big argument over nothing. The light bulb. Shower in the dark. Take him in the shower with you in the dark. And it may be dangerous doing that. So I want you to list each of the top three and ask yourself, is there a pattern? All right? What he's told you, if you're stubborn, that's a sign that you need to take on board. And is there a pattern? Is there really a pattern? And where has this come from? Is it linked with your past? Is it linked with your dad? Is it linked with your upbringing? Is it linked with a really painful relationship? Okay?
No, I haven't finished.
I'm gonna
send
you all this information, so don't worry. Okay? Has it all been good so far?
Yeah.
Yeah? Still ain't got to the how you're going to find him yet, have we? But on a serious note, do you understand why you need to know all this before you go out there into the dating field? Because I could just sit here and just give you all the tips to how you can get lots of dates, but without you applying and knowing all of this, you're going to have problems. And by the looks of things, some of you didn't even know on most of this stuff what I'm saying here as well. And you are now ahead of your competitors out there. So apply this. When you go out with your girlfriends, don't tell them what you know. Why are you going to the bathroom alone the last 6 times? Oh, I've got the runs. Don't just make up some stuff. Because you're going to say that you like that particular guy, and if she likes him, you've got competition there. And she's single as well. And if she's more forthgoing and going to go up and approach him than you are, then if you both look as nice, he's going to go with your friend. Okay? Are you aware of these, and what can you do to improve this situation? So you must be aware, if your exes are telling you this, or if you think that's what they're telling you, you need to be honest with yourself in that area as well. If you're going to make him wrong and say, no, he was an idiot, you're not going to take it on board, you're going to carry that to the next one as well. Week number 6. How to get a man to call you every day to take you out. Now we're going to get into we're now halfway, now we're going to get into the men stuff. Come on. Right. Dating business card. How many of you have met a man that you liked? You didn't really want to give him your personal mobile number because you just wanted to test the waters. Just me? So you met a guy and he's asked for your number, but you was like, I don't want to give it to him, but I know I should do, but I'm just going to take my time, and then you may not give it to him, and then you may lose out on the date. How many of you don't want to give out your number all the time to get hassled? Right. This week, this is what I want you to do. This is what I've got some of my clients are doing as well, is to create a separate mobile number, to get another mobile number, which is your dating business card number. And what that means is, use a different name or middle or make one up on the business card. So you're going to get a business card done with a different mobile number, pay as you go, whatever, okay? If you want to use your middle name, or you just want to shorten your name or whatever, so for example, if your name's Karen, maybe put Kaz on it, for argument's sake, to protect yourself, okay? But you can put your own name on that. Now the reason for that is, get a different mobile number, pay as you go. Every time this phone rings, you know it's a hot date. You're nodding as to say,
sounds interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Right, no, because you wouldn't. Right. Now, what this means is, if you're out, for example, you met a guy and you had this on you, and this is your dating business card, all right? And you met a guy and you're thinking, yeah, he's all right, you know, there's potential there, but I'm going to see how it goes. Are you more likely to give him that card that you know when that other number rings, it's going to be a man that's interested in you, as opposed to just giving out your work business card all the time? Does that make sense? So would you prefer to have a separate number that you've got some cards done that you give out to the men that you like? You're more likely to give them out more. So say for example, you meet a guy that you like and you've done your fluffy stuff and you've maxed out, right? You're maxed out your fluffy stuff and you want to just leave. And then you can say to him, I've got to go, but I tell you what, Mark, his name's Mark, you seem like a nice guy, let's have a coffee. I'll tell you what to do, here's my card, give me a call when you're free, you're ready. If you do that on a regular basis, do you not think you would have lots of dates? Do you not think you'd have lots of men texting you? Because these are the guys that you've met on in your troubles when you're going around, and these are the men that you start a conversation with, bumped into him into the car park, shopping, wherever it is. Now the reason for this, you'll be more confident to take that out and give it to him as opposed to your personal one because of the attachment you have with your personal number. Does that make sense? Yeah? Now I would put a different mobile number. Don't put your surname because he can find you on Facebook. So you're in full control of that situation. So then therefore what then happens then, you're more likely, keep it in your purse, if you see a guy that you like, you say to him, look, and this is very important how you close it. So look, I've really got to shoot, I'd really like to see you again. Would you like to have I'd like to have a coffee, just say coffee, all right? Here's my card. Now, if a woman does that to you, for example, and you just bumped into her and you met her, I'm asking a guy from the second opinion, and she's giving you your card and you liked her, what are you going to do?
I'm calling, text her.
I think just a little bit.
Listen, I'll be straight, right? Today, I'm going to show you some tips that are going to work for you. The whole purpose of me showing you today is to give you tips on how you can think outside of your comfort zone. If it works for you and you found that right man, would you be glad you did it? I guarantee you, if all of you just keep doing what you've been doing up until now, you're going to get exactly the same thing. Now, all I'm saying is, get them done. And I know some of you may think, oh, God, it's a big thingy, but believe me, once you start giving out one card, how's he going to contact you? You start talking to me, you like me, and you give me an opening, he's just told you plainly there, he's going to follow up, because women don't do that. So you're now going to be thinking outside of the box than your competitors. I'm trying to make you think outside of the box to do things differently. And I guarantee you, if you give out 10 of these, I guarantee you 5 are going to call you, maybe more. And you've already showed it, you've already met him, you've had a communication with him, he will call you. Because women do not do that on the whole. Most women don't do that on the whole. And I guarantee you, you do this, and you give out your number 10 times, I guarantee you those men will contact you, they're contacting you because they want to take you out. He's just said it.
So Des, if you're happy just to give your normal card out and you
that's fine, yeah. That's fine. That's fine.
Because I think it's about being genuine.
Yeah.
And I think it's that value because I wouldn't like it if somebody gave me a card that was not what their real name is.
Yeah, but
that was my question.
From a women's
name, I'm having an issue with.
No, I said you can choose if you want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can choose. The reason why I've said that is protecting you because you're the female. Okay? Men, we can put our name, you're not going to give us maybe as much grief as we mostly give yourself. But you're in control of that situation. Does that make sense? So if you want to just put your first name, Kaz or whatever, but then that way, when you get to know him, you can say, oh, that's my nickname.
Yeah.
My real name is X.
How would you feel if it was a completely different name? Because I
just say to him, that's my nickname. Okay. Yeah? But if you want to put Anne, if you put Anne, and you then come back and say, well, my name's Anna, but my granny used to call me Anna, and I like using it. There's ways of doing that. The whole purpose of this is to create more dates. That's what you need to focus on. Don't focus on, oh, it looks a bit needy or different or blah-de-da-de-da. The whole, without giving you full details, and there's clients of mine that are doing this, and they're getting dates every week. They're going out, they're in wine bars, they're meeting a man, because they know, actually, this guy looks quite cool. I'm going to give him my card. When that phone rings, you know it's a man that wants to take you out. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you came here today for? Think about it. Not, oh, well, it needs to be this way because I want it that way. It needs to be fluffy with a little bow on top of it. No, it's not going to work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Yes, somebody have a question?
Yeah. I wanted to say something. A friend of mine, a guy, female, gave him exactly that, just her first name with a number on it. And it was a group party there, and he talked to her at the bar for a minute, and he was friends. She gave him a card like that, just to name the number. He came back and said, oh, obviously an escort. And it was like, that was the topic. She's obviously an escort, and put it in his pocket as a joke.
To go up to Wayne.
That's what I would do.
The number, usually don't do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, were they having a conversation leading up to it?
What did you say?
Was there a conversation leading up? Was there having a conversation? I'm talking about the end when you're leaving and you're wanting
to.
Yeah,
no, he was away because we were all there. Big group.
He
was at the bar for a while.
To be honest, he's most probably dealt with escorts in the past, maybe for him to come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
But come on.
How many of that is that in 10 or?
I've never had that problem.
So it might be 1 in 10 or 25.
1 or 10 lads in life.
In that way.
Yeah. Doesn't mean all men are going to think like that. If you gave me your card like that, I wouldn't think that you're an escort.
I think it's a good idea.
Try it. I guarantee you, and I've never been proven wrong. You try this, you will get lots of, because you're going to be more confident at the end of it. If he's toing and throwing, it's okay. Let's meet up for coffee and give me a card, give me a call. Don't put your email on there, or put an email. If you don't want to give your number, put the email on there and create a different email without your name in it. All right? Give it to all the men that you like, and give out 3 cards per week. Week 6, okay? Week 6, I want you to be giving out 3 per week, and I want to know how you're getting on with that. For those of you that don't email me, I know you're not doing it. It's that bum, as my daughter would say. That equals 21 dates in a week if you did that.
Month.
No. Sorry, that should be per day.
Oh, yeah.
3 a day.
I made a mistake. Right. If you give out 3 cards per week, guarantee if you did that every day, you get 21 dates, which might be a bit too excessive. That'd be 84 dates in a month. How many times do you go out every day? If you reflect back in the last couple of weeks, do you see a guy that you like most days if you're out and about? Not one. No, I mean, hold on a minute, sorry. I mean shopping, I mean on the tube, I mean walking from going to work, and you're out and about. Social media as well. Don't tell me that you cannot create opportunities for you where you can meet men that you like the look of. Because let me ask another question. How many of you have been giving yourself 100% to finding the right man to date? Hands up. 100%. And you can't do any more? Because I'll tear you to pieces right now if you really want me to. Yeah. Is there anything more, honestly, that you really could do?
Change myself completely. Do a rewiring in my
No, I'm being serious. If you honestly say to everybody in the room, I've done everything. For example, if someone said to you, if you don't do this, you will die. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of level.
She went nuts. I mean, well, we've been exhausted.
Right. Okay. None of you in there has given 100%. Okay? How many of you, have you been to a speed dating event recently? How many did you go to in the last month?
One.
1 or 4? Okay. So, dating sites? How many? 2. How many dating sites are there? So you're only doing 2. So you could join another 4 or 5. Yeah? Do you contact men on social media? Dating groups? Right. Okay. I mean, I could spend.
Because I'm old-fashioned.
Right. Well, then, what I'm saying is, you're not giving 100%. Okay. So a lot more you can do, Zainab. A lot more.
And doing something like Electra, we do the matchmaking for you. We've got people.
Yeah, eHarmony promised me that.
No, eHarmony's online. We'll hear about it.
You can hear about it. Okay. So none of you are giving 100%. Right? Because if you gave 100%, you'll have a lot more dates, and you most
I think quantity is not quality.
Yeah.
You know?
But
I mean, I had 4 dates a week. I was like on 3 sites parallel. I didn't work at that time. I really had time, to dedicate myself to that. And I thinking back, I said, what a waste of time.
But it doesn't mean that's how it's going to be in the future. There's a lot more, all of you. Hands up those of you honestly know there's a lot more you can do. Hands up. Hands up those of you that feel there's nothing more you can do. Right, let's carry on then. That's why you're here. Come on, I'm not being rude, but there's a lot more you guys can do, a lot more, and you know that. How many times have you seen a guy that you like, shopping, walking towards you, and you just want him to approach you, and he hasn't, and you never see him again?
Would you really go up to a guy that you just see shopping and give him a card?
No, you don't just give it to him like that. No, you're not listening. No, you strike the conversation with him. I'm talking about the guys that you meet and you strike a conversation, and you want to just say, you want to make it easier for him to contact you. No, don't go out and give out your card to all the guys. I didn't say that. Did I say that?
But no, that's what you're putting as a target.
No.
You're putting as a target.
No, get out. I want you. I know for a fact, if I tell you to give 100%. You're most probably going to max out, maybe give it 60, 70. But if you're giving 20, you're making progress. Does that make sense? Today is all about you making. I know you're not going to do all of what the sale wants. I know that. But you're going to do. If you apply some, you will get more dates.
Last question. Is there an easy way to work out if someone is single? Because what you don't want to do is go up, have a conversation, and look like the girlfriend or wife is sitting at the front.
What you could do, if you meet a guy and you get speaking to him, ask him what he done for the last couple. What you do for the last week? What did you do last weekend? What did you do to socialise? If it's, you could ask him, as the conversation's going, have you been abroad anywhere? Where did you go? Who did you go with? Your mates? Oh no, with my girlfriend. Okay, cool. Then you know. Does that make sense? There's always a way. Okay? Ask him questions that he more likely is going to be doing things with his girlfriend. What did you do at the weekend? You know, did you go, you know, when was the last, what would you like to eat? When was the last time you went to a restaurant? Yeah? Then he's going to tell you. You'll feel more confident from this with the card. It will increase your dating chances. You have lots of men contacting you, and it will significantly reduce loneliness. I won't ask you to put your hand up if you're lonely, because I think we've all been there. Attend lots of dates. In America, they serial date. Every week, date. One of the advantages of doing it is if you haven't had a relationship for a while, don't expect to just meet the next man you meet, he's going to be the one. You're going to be out of tune. You're going to be out of tune of flirting. You're going to be out of tune of communicating with men that you emotionally like. So why not just go out on as many dates and practice? Even if he's not the 10 out of 10. If he's a 6 out of 10, just meet up with him. Because you don't know who he knows. You don't know who his best mate is. He could have a barbecue, invite you, and he invites his football team or his rugby team, and there's about 10 men there, 3 of them are single and 2 of them like you. Does that make sense? So you're thinking outside of the box. But some people, like the one my client I was telling you about, she wanted him to be all the boxes ticked now. And what made it even worse is that he does athletics, and they had athletic meetings and parties. So he would have invited her, and she could have, but she shut that door there for him, for herself, not for him, for herself, until the next one, because she wants that perfect man to land on her doorstep, and she is not perfect herself. I had to sort of be honest with her, but maybe it'll take a few years. Work on your question strategy and find out more about yourself and educate yourself more about men. So important. And this will help you to find the right man quickly. This will significantly increase your chances. This is exactly what you want and you need, is it not, lots of interested men? No? That's what you want, that's why we're here, that's why you're here today, to find out how to get that, and this is how you can get that. Now, for the cards, go to Vistaprint, Amazon, /10, and you can get them free. Doesn't even cost you a penny. Who's not going to do this? Or just try it? Okay. Anyone else? So everyone promises me they're going to do it, yeah? No, I was going to say yes to shut him up. Thank you.
I've just got a question. I don't mind doing this, but I feel a bit uncomfortable about dating most of the time.
Okay, Candace said that she feels uncomfortable dating more than one man at a time. What you're doing there is you're going to put your hopes into one man that you meet, right? And then you're going to have all those thoughts, as women do, oh, he's lovely, he's interested in me, but he's most probably dating other women at the same time as you. And in situations like that, if you're dating him and he meets somebody else, or you see him with somebody else, you're going to make him wrong because you're internalised that he's got your hopes up high that you was the one. But if you had dating, as in going out and meeting him and going out and meeting him, wouldn't you rather have 6 or 7 men that are interested in you, for you to be in control and choose who you want, as opposed to you're just reluctant? Because we can pick up that we're the only one that you're interested in.
But you might start to get sloppy and confuse their stories and can't remember.
But take on board what you can. If you can't, bounce on a minute. Aren't you? How many of you deal with the finances and deal with organising yourself and stuff at work? What do you work as? Teacher. Gee, oh come on. Do you mark kids' homework? Give them reports? What's the difference? Do you get confused?
Write it down, I have to remember it.
But write it down then. Yeah? Write it down. This is your life, okay? So if you're going to pussyfoot about with it, that's what you're going to get back. And I know you may say, oh God, I've got to get an Excel spreadsheet and write it down. This is more important to you than your career. It's obvious. Okay? This is more important to you, and what you're doing is you're giving your career the 100%. and you give in this area hardly anything. And this is the reason why this is happening. Yes, Jen?
One of the things that we as a dating coach tip as well for those who start doing some dating for elect is we say, keep a dating diary. Because when you keep a dating diary, you can start up to understand and see if you've got some patterns yourself. You can see things that you like, that you don't like. So sometimes we can be a bit more objective. So it's the same sort of thing, but keep it as a diary.
If you're on a mission to do this, then keep track. If you don't, because you might slip up. Last thing you want is call a man John and his name is Michael. Not a good idea.
Just call them Sweetie.
Sweetie, babe, whatever. Not in the first date though. Right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know some of you may be a bit uncomfortable about that, but I guarantee you do that, you will get more dates than what you get at the moment. Guarantee it. Week 7. How to let go of any past pain. How many of you in here, honestly, has some unresolved issues? How many of you feel that they don't? There's always one, isn't there? There's always one. Right, we all got stuff, yeah? How many of you honestly know what stuff you have? Hands up high. So the ones that hands are down are not aware they have stuff. Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't say that. How many of you have to deal with stuff? Right. How many of you are dealing with it? I'm assuming is that by therapy, coaching, counselling, one of those three. You, yeah? Everybody does. So they're working with it. Anybody doing it any different way? Right. Excellent. Well done for those of you that are working on that. Because it takes courage, one, to identify you do have an issue, and two, to even take that step and acknowledge I need help in that area, because some people feel that that's a weakness. As we all know, that is strength. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So once you understand yourself and you start to work through your stuff, how many of you, most of the time when you deal with your stuff and you go to a coach or therapist, you feel better coming out? And sometimes you might feel worse. But do you feel as if you're growing, as if you're dealing with it? You know, I'm dealing with the bereavement of my mum, and every time I go and see my counsellor, 9 times out of 10 I break down. But I'm working through the issues. Does that make sense? Okay? I love my mum dearly, and she died suddenly, and I'm dealing with that. That's had a massive impact on relationships, etc. That's been happening. What about yourself? Because then you need to be prepared for when you're in a relationship with the next guys. Okay? Any questions? So be honest with yourself that you may have some unresolved issues. You must be honest with yourself. Look in that mirror and have that conversation. Say, you know, I've got some stuff going on, and I know this is going to cause problems in future relationships. Have positive conversations with yourself about that. And what is the area you need help in? I'm not going to ask you to share it because it's personal. Now, your issues that you've identified, how many of you has this affected your relationship in the past? Honestly, just us 5 then. Thank you for being honest. I guarantee you, there's going to be, if I interviewed all your exes, there'll be some stuff in here that he would highlight, and I bet some of it that you might not be aware of. Because we just go through day to day, just living. But what I want to prepare for you today is when you leave from here today, that you identify, I think this one is one of the most important ones that will damage it. Remember I said we stack, 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 stack. And usually most of the arguments that we have are over nothing. Really, think about it. How many times have you had an argument with your partner, and you have a big argument, and you go to bed, you kiss and make up, and wake up in the morning, and you think, what's that about? Just me? Just me, you? 3 of us. And then you look back and think, what was I arguing about? And it's never usually the other person, is it? Really? Something they triggered off. You've had a bad day. I know when I'm hungry, I'm miserable. When I'm hungry, I'm agitated, I'm very sensitive. And you know, I was told when I was a baby, I need to be fed. That's just myself. So what is it about you? What is it about you that, you know, when you're most sensitive? What is it that triggers something off within you? Because you need to identify that. Is it the lateness, when I said about my ex? Is it you feel unreliable? And then once you understand that, what is that linked to? Where does that come from? Is it linked to your dad? How many of you have a good relationship with your father? I won't ask about the ones around, but if that's an area there, if you had a negative relationship with your father, you really need to work on that. Whether it's coaching, counselling, or reading books, just try and work on that, because I guarantee you, your next partner is going to trigger something linked with your father, and you're going to make him wrong, and it's going to blow up. I guarantee that. Some of you look at me and nodded to say, yeah. So please work on that area there. What one thing can you do to improve this situation? As I said, it's coaching. There's quite a few coaches in the room. Therapy, books, YouTube videos. If you don't want to buy a book, if you want access now, if you've got an issue with trust, confidence, commitment, or you keep dating the wrong men, just type that in YouTube on a search, and there's going to be an expert on there telling you exactly what you need to do. And it's free. Our parents didn't have this. You have that. Everything's out there now. If you want to make more money, it's on YouTube. It's on the internet. It's all there. It's audio programs. Discuss with people who had the same issue and resolved it. What did they do? Your ex-partner was unfaithful to you. How can you trust again? And then she'll tell you why. And I worked on myself. I wasn't allowing him, my experience with him, to dictate my future. So you're disassociated what's gone on there. I know it's easier said than done, but if you've had a bad experience in the past, please do not allow that to dictate your future. Because if you get a clued up man, he's going to pick up on that straight away. Right. Another one of my crazy ideas. She's more crazier than the dating card. Oh God, she says. And Donna's going to come up and dance the happy for 3 minutes. Right. You have a man walking towards you. You want in? So, this man is walking towards you, and as some of you have said, I never see anybody I like at all walking towards you. You never see a man walking towards you that you like. You never see him shopping. You never see him on the street. You never see him on Facebook. You never see any men you like look up, do you? Never. No. That's right. Because by saying no, then I can't work with you to do that. That's right, no. But if he's walking towards you, how would you be able to get his attention in a subtle way? Smile, okay. Supposedly he's not looking at you when he's smiling. Smile is a good one. Yeah. Anything else? Eye contact. How would you look at him? So you're looking at him and smiling. So he's walking towards you. Right. Can you just leave the room a minute, please? Yeah. I'm not telling you off because we're going to do an exercise. I'm going to choose someone in the audience and I'm going to show how this works. I'll get one of the girls to come and get you. I'll see you in about 3 hours. Okay.
How about asking for directions?
Good, that's a good one. So what would you...
Angeline,
sorry. So I'm walking towards you.
Yeah.
Okay, what would you say to me?
Oh, hi, excuse me. Can you tell me where the theatre is?
Which theatre?
I would know which theatre. Okay.
Sorry, that was cruel, sorry.
Okay, the tube station.
You need to, on a serious note, that's a good question, but she needs to, don't just say it, Because if he asks you that, you're going to, oh, God, he's going to think you're crazy.
Yeah. The tube station.
The nearest tube station, right. That's a good one, isn't it? All right. I was the nearest tube station. Back to you. Anyone else?
What's the time?
Time? Yeah, but if he asks
He
you,
looks like he's in a hurry, he probably wouldn't have time.
if he asks you for the time, right, and you give him his number, you get the phone. Clock's going to be on the phone, so you need to be smart.
The battery's gone. You just do my dress up.
In the middle of the high street, why did you dress unfound in the first place?
I had no one at home to zip it up for me.
Oh, yeah, don't do that one, please. That's an elect club tip, not Des O'Connor tip. No responsibility for that one.
You can compliment him with what he's wearing if it's something that you like.
Cool.
So, for example, your shirt, if you're walking past and say, oh, I love that shirt, it looks really nice.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. And that would, for example, say hello to Sean over there, everybody. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Sean.
Nice shirt. So, if I haven't spoken to him about this, but if a woman said to you, I like your shirt, and you liked her, how would you take it to the next level?
Being British, obviously I'd run. I don't understand joking, I joke too, I can't run that fast. I'd actually want to spend it. If she was genuine, there are various ways that she can ask. If she's very naturally warm, and I think the secret is to ask as if she doesn't care what happens and without any expectation. If she's hanging there and feeling nervous, and think, now I'm going to feel nervous. I don't remember what colour my shirt is. So, and ideally it would help if she had something about her, she'd ask a bit more about the shirt. Did you get it made or tailored? That's a good thing. So that looks tailored. When I have my shirts tailored, my suits and everything else. And that, what that says is, my subconscious is that you obviously think that that I'm maybe hopefully a man of quality and maybe of taste, therefore I want quality stuff, and that would flatter my obviously pint-sized male ego.
That makes sense.
Sure that's an ironic laugh, but thank you.
Thank you. Round of applause for Sean. Right. And it's the same situation when I said about the sport. If he likes a particular, the male likes a particular.
Dates already.
You work quick. You got your car done already. Your alarm. Waking up this time of the day. Don't ask. But do you see what I said when you ask a question and you elaborate on it and open it? Like, for example, if you're asking a man about a particular football team, they start talking about the players and the ground and the Champions League, and all of a sudden, as a woman's talking about sport, then you're thinking not that she's asking about sport, but she's educated about the sport. Like he's saying, she's educated about the shirt, and she's like, she's a woman that knows her stuff. So if she's applying that knowledge in that area, then all the other areas of her life, she must think a similar way. Does that make sense? Yeah, make sense? No? Yes? Yep. Right. So, drop a hanky or envelope as you pass it. Exercise. Right, now.
I have dropped so many things.
I'm sure. Everything.
Pick it up
I don't mean to do that. Sorry. There's a way of I'm going to show you a way of doing it, all right? And for that,
it's normally wires.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to show you an easy, fluffy. You need to be fluffy with it, okay? Not, there it is. Pick it up. It's not going to work that way, all right? So here we go. Key thing is, the reason why I thought of this, I was at a seminar once, and I was at reception, and I was on the phone. And I had a handkerchief, and as I was walking past, my handkerchief fell out of my pocket, which is just honest to God truth, and it fell out. And this woman chased over and came up to me and said to me, "Excuse me, you dropped your handkerchief." Okay. Now at the time I was in a relationship, but she then said to me, "Oh hi, my name's Sandra. Are you on a seminar downstairs?" And we got a conversation going, and she knew what I was doing in relationships coaching. We exchanged details. And then she had a client for me. Now, if you was walking past a man and you dropped something and you made it look as though you accidentally dropped it, what do you think he's going to do if he sees that?
Pick it up.
Pick it up. Pick it up and say what?
Excuse me, you dropped this.
Right, now, if you did that to a man that you liked the look of, or every man you like to look of, and you applied that, what would he do?
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Right, he'll come and approach you. Do you not want the men that you like the look of to approach you? Right. Now, I'm going to show you how this works without me. I can't show it to Sean because Sean really knows, obviously, explain it. So I'm going to use the guy that's out there as an exercise. So this is what you need to do, because you need to do this in a way without not making it. You need to be fluffy, Anna.
You need to. This word. I have no idea what you mean. Exactly.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you exactly. Right. You need to be on your phone when you're doing this, so it looks as though your attention is elsewhere as well. Okay? So it looks real. And you need to look the opposite way to him and turn away from him when you drop it. Does that make sense? So, this works, believe me. So, if he's walking towards you, and you can see he's walking to you, you've spotted him. And what you need to do is to make out that you're on the phone, turn the opposite way, and as you're turning the opposite way, that drops. Okay? Now, if he's walking towards you from that direction, what's he going to do?
Walk past.
Walk past. It depends if you've got heels on or not. But no, on a serious note, what's he going to do?
Pick it up.
And say what? Right. Now, the key thing there is, it's not that he's picked it up and he's approached you, it's what you say after that. Okay? Now what you need to do, you need to make it a big deal. Now it could be an envelope, it could be a handkerchief, it could be something. Make sure it's something of non-value. Because you're going to look silly if you go around the block and come back and pick it up and he's walking back as well and sees what you've done. You're a bit silly, alright? Now, he will most probably definitely approach you and start a conversation. If he likes you. And you must make a big deal of thanking him. That when he comes back to the fluffy stage where you don't say, oh, all right, thanks, and carry on walking. Because I'm independent and strong and I know I've dropped it anyway. Say to him, oh, thank you so much. Even make yourself look vulnerable, make yourself say, oh God, how did that happen? Oh, thank you so much. Okay? Because we like to feel needed. Okay? And we like to protect you, and that's our way of showing you that. And most men will do that for a woman, whether she's married or she's single or whatever, because that's our instinct, that's exactly what we would do. Would you do that, Sean?
I would. And actually I'd say this, Des, that if a man sees it, think that's a shame, and walks on, is that he's the man you, even if he's attractive, he's the sort of man you want to get to know. No, he isn't.
Make sense? You like to feel needed, thank you, and always look the part even if you're and always look the part if you pop into the shops. Because you just don't know when that's going to happen. I know those ones where, oh God, I need a pint of milk, my tea, just put on my flats, tracksuit bottoms, leggings, little t-shirt hasn't been ironed, and you run out, and then you bump into an ex. Or you bump into this guy that's absolutely gorgeous in it, and you get speaking to him. Introduce yourself and ask him an open question. So when that happens, you could say something like, if it's an area, if he looks like he's at work, you could say to him, oh, thank you so much. The question you could ask is, straight after, do you work around here and what do you do? And then if he says, oh, you know, I'm a lawyer, or I'm an accountant, you say, why did you choose that career? And then you explain to you, and as he's explaining to you, he's talking to you, he's going to ask you the same question back. And that is when he's leaving and the conversation's coming to the end, what will you have in your purse or your jacket that you can take out?
Another hanky!
No, not another hanky! Do you see how that works? How it works interlinked? You've taken control of the situation. You've planned it, you've executed it, and you followed through at the end. We've had him not even knowing. Does that make sense? Now that's going to take some planning, but then why should you not be planning it? So what I'm going to do is, I need a volunteer. I think how the day's been, there's only one person I think will be ideally for that. So can she come to the front? She knows who she is, so up you get, Anna. And the worst, you know, the thing about this is, right, that is he gone?
Yes.
The good thing about it is, who was the last person to come in here?
Yeah.
And what was she doing? Right. Take a leaf out. She was talking to the guy that was the only guy that's in the room. Okay, some of you may not think he's his type, but she's been communicating to him. She's already said, I've been whatever she's been doing. So this would take it to the next level, would it not? Yes, because there's been a connection there. Now, some of you may not have liked him, but if some of you did like him, you've lost the opportunity now because she's ahead of the plan. So a round of applause, come to the front, please. Okay.
What am I doing?
Jen, not yet, please.
Okay.
Right, so we're just going to practice this, okay? You're going to do exactly what I've been saying.
Okay. Can I not use my cigarettes, because that's more... But I dropped the lighter.
Okay, do whatever you... Yeah, no problem. Use your cigarettes.
You're going to wonder what I'm
You're on time, Anna. There's no rush here at all.
What?
Right, so...
Am I meant to have the phone as well?
Yeah, you can just pretend. Okay, I'll tell you what, here's my phone. Just make sure you give back to me when you finish, please. Right, so, what I'm going to say to, is it CJ? CV. No, that's wrong. CV's going to be walking towards you. Stay there. Stay there. Right. CV's going to be walking towards her. All I'm going to say to her is move forward. Just stay still. And then you've got your CV. Do not move, please. Stay there. Right. Right. CV's going to be walking towards her. Okay, I'm going to tell him to just do his own thing when he's walking towards her. And I'm going to say to him, what would you do in this situation? Okay? Now, you've got to do it in a way that it's fluffy. I'm not making it obvious, okay? You know what's going to happen is you're going to turn as if you're on the phone, talking away, and then what you're going to do, as you're turning, you're going to drop your cigarette on the floor, okay? Now, I hope this goes right. I'm a bit stupid if it doesn't. But as Sean said, if he walks past, I'm going to tell you that he's not worthy of.
But it's going to look silly if I just...
No, he won't. Promise me. He has no idea. Right? So I'm going to show you how this can work for everybody else in the room to possibly apply it. Now, when you drop that, he's going to say, "Oh, excuse me, you dropped your cigarettes." So the first thing you're going to say is what?
Thank you.
Thank you. She's like, Can you see the resistance there? It's like, no, they're my cigarettes. I'll pick them up myself. I don't need no man to give them up. Do you see what? Can you see?
Yeah.
Right. So you drop them, and he's going to say. So let's do a rewind. Sorry. You the cigarettes.
No, I was dropping the lighter. It was all very carefully planned and all that.
You don't play the game, are you, really? Right, be on the phone. Right, you're there. Okay, you're on the phone. Don't look at me, just be on the phone, look at the wall. Right, I'm going to be walking behind you. Okay, I'm walking behind you. Just drop it on the floor. Just slightly.
Now.
I'll tell you what.
At what point do
Let's make this easier for you. Right. He's walking behind you, you're on the phone, and then you drop it.
Oh, I like that one. That's much better.
Yeah, because you're not playing the game.
What?
So come behind me now.
Just drop something.
Turn around. Right. Just walk slowly. Right. Turn you on the phone, and then accidentally. I'll tell you what, do put it in your. Yeah. Okay. That worked. It's gonna be here till Christmas, I can see. So turn around, drop it, and carry on walking. Just carry on walking. Just drop it. Just be on the phone. You've got to be on the phone. Okay. Carry on walking. Right. Now. he's going to come and say, excuse me, you dropped your light.
Oh, thank you.
That's cool. Thank you. And he said, oh, that's no problem. And then what you would then say is,
can you write it?
No, that wouldn't work because that wouldn't work. Right. So then what you can say to him is an open question.
Do you work around here?
And?
Oh, sorry.
It's all there for you, my dear. Bottom line.
Why did you choose that career?
Okay, one second.
Read the bottom line.
Do you work around here? What do you do and why do you choose that career? Okay.
Yeah, but not why do you choose the career. What you're asking him is, why do you work around here and what do you do?
Except that there is a slight flaw in your plan because he has the photographic memory of every single conversation that we've just had. And I've asked that, and
Don't worry about it for now.
Okay.
Yeah. You're just playing the game. Did you understand? Make sense? Right. You ready?
Yes.
Jesus.
So I'm going over there.
Right, I'm going to just stand still and just relax, first of all, right? I hope this works. Do you know what to do?
Can we just run through it one more time?
You're joking. CV, you get the card, please. Thank you. How you doing? So, CV, everybody? Right, I'm going to just I want you to imagine you've never met this lovely woman before in your life, and you are now walking behind her, okay, on the road, just on normal pavement, and you're walking around her, and she's going to just be walking, and then something's going to happen. I just wanted to see what you would do in this situation. I haven't told you what's going to happen, so if you just stand by the wall. Okay. Come up a bit more? A bit more? Right, that's fine. Right, after 3. 1, 2, you just carry on following and walking. Here we go.
Sorry. Oh, thank you very much. So, do you work around here?
I'm not going to ask regular, because I know the answer.
Okay, round of applause for that. For being such a wonderful person, I'm going to give you my DVD, 21 Secret Steps on How to Find the Right Man, a £60 DVD.
Thank you very much.
Just out of curiosity, was that fun?
Yeah.
Okay, just out of curiosity, if that did happen, you'd have done exactly that.
Exactly that.
Right. And if you liked her and she asked you, thank you, she said thank you, and she said to you, do you work around here and what do you do? And you would have said, for example, do you work around, what do you do?
I would have said that, yeah. I would have said, I do work around here.
And what do you do?
I'm a sex coach.
She would have found that, I'm sure you would have found that interesting. Most people would have said okay. But in an ideal situation, you're not going to get a lot of guys saying that. So it's,
If he had said that to me in the middle of the street, I would have thought he was just joking. It was only because that confirmed it.
It doesn't matter because the whole purpose of this is to what? Mingle, strike a conversation. That's all it needs. Does that make sense? Yeah? So that's one thing that you can do. Round of applause for Cindy. And Anna as well. Woo! Cool. Some of you may do that, some of you may not. Yeah, right, week 9. This is the spoil yourself week. How many of you really take time out to spoil yourself? Everybody, now go to deal sites as Groupon, Voucher. What's the other one? There's another one in there. But you know the deal sites? Who doesn't know what a deal site is? Yeah, Groupon, and they've got spas and massages and everything on there. Week number 9, you can go to the gym. Sometimes you can just go to gym where you can get a pass where you can just go there for a week for next to nothing as well. Candidate baths. When was the last time anybody had a candidate bath? Nobody. Week 9, please have a candidate bath and have the music that you chose playing in the background as well. It's very important that you spoil yourself and just take that time out for you and reflect. It's so important you do that. Not candidate bath with your partner, with your partner that you are linked up with in this today, not with them in the bath. Week number 9, you're going to communicate with them. That's what you're going to be doing as well. Okay? So then you, for example, those of you that, hands up that don't have a partner in here? Everyone's got a partner. Who doesn't have a partner? Right. Okay, because they're the latecomers, isn't it? So, how many's there? 1.
Oh, sorry.
You don't listen, see? Hands up those that don't have a partner.
As in a partner to communicate with for the exercises.
Afterwards. So you two can be a partner, and yeah, Zainab can possibly partner with Rachel. Okay, that's what you do in week number 9. Right, also week number 9, when you're out and about, asking a man for the time, directions, post office, train station, and how to phone. By then, you would have had enough practice by then to be confident enough to ask a lot of questions of the men outside. So, if you're asking for directions or the post office or the train station, don't just ask it, because if he asks you another question back, then you may look a little bit silly. So, if there's a station or a post office, find out the name of it as well. The whole purpose of this is to strike a conversation. Don't give it any other meaning. And these are the men that you like the look of as well. Doesn't matter if he's not your type. Supermarket. If he's down by the deodorant area, you could say, I'm having difficulty choosing a nice Lynx deodorant for my brother or nephew. Can you please help me to choose one? Now, why have I included brother-nephew in there?
So he knows it's not your husband.
Brilliant. So he then knows you're making it. You're letting him know I'm possibly single. Does that make sense? Because we could think, oh well, she might be asking for a boyfriend or whatever. Because we're not going to know. Yeah.
Do we have to buy that Lynx deodorant?
You have to buy it. You're
getting information.
striking a conversation. Put it in your basket and then put it back when you buy the milk car, buy the bananas or something. Yeah? The whole purpose of this is that you are striking a conversation. You're not asking him to marry him, you're not asking him to give him his children, nothing. It's just striking initial conversation. Some of you have this association with, oh, I can't do that because supposing X, Y, Z, supposing he doesn't have links, supposing he doesn't have links, supposing he finds out I don't have a nephew, all this kind of stuff. But it's true, don't do these things, you start telling yourself these stuff, and then what happens then, you tell yourself these things and prevents you from taking action. That's why, yeah, you agree with that? That's why the women that say men do not like to be approached by women are usually the women that are the ones that are not taking a lot of action, and by them saying that, it justifies why they don't approach the men they like in the first place. Whereas if there's men over there, you can ask them on the panel, if, and it's the way, as Sean said, it's the way that she comes across. If there's a woman that approaches him in a correct manner, and it depends on how she comes across, he's not going to think, you know, she's needy or she's desperate. If anything, as he said, if she sounds confident, she sounds knowledgeable, and that's interesting because a lot of women don't do that, which you can elaborate on when we do the panel. Sports shops. I was in a shop once, and this woman asked. She picked up this mirror with a football player on it, and I think it was Arsenal. And she says to me, basically she was asking me, does a player play for this team? And he wasn't. He was a player that played for Tottenham. I think it was Berbatov. Berbatov used to play for Tottenham Arsenal. It's a rivalry for the educated women who know about football. So basically, it's the wrong thing to say, basically. But it can be a good thing to say because, for example, who does Wayne Rooney play for? Who? Man U, thank you. Right, so the majority of you didn't know that. So if you ask a man, if you're in a sports shop and you're looking for a shirt or whatever, and you say, excuse me, does Wayne Rooney play for, who does he play for? Liverpool. One, he's going to internalise that as quite funny. He's going to know you're not clued up with football, which could be a joking thing, okay? But Wayne Rooney plays for Manchester United. So basically, that would strike a conversation there. Or you could just say to him, I want to buy a football shirt for my nephew again. Which one do you reckon I should get? The home and away, because I'm not used to this kind of stuff. Men will be hanging out in sports shops all day long. And none of you go into sports shops on a regular basis as well. So that's where men are going to, one of the main areas where men are going to be, especially now, and especially the best times is usually July, beginning of August, because this football season starts mid-August and everybody's buying new shirts. Networking events and conferences as well. Like-minded people, business-minded, if you want a business-minded professional person, and they're going to be there as well. London Transport. Now, when you're going on the platform, it's very important that you scan the platform, the seating area, and position yourself as close to him as possible and strike a conversation. So if you're walking along the tube or the train, whatever you're focusing on, as soon as you hit that platform, right, you're scanning. And the men that you like the look of, I don't mean actually stepping on his toes, but make sure you're positioned that when the carriage door opens, you're going to be walking in more or less together or close together. Does that make sense? As opposed to, oh my God, he looks too nice for me, I'm going to stand here and I know he's going to come over. How many of you have honestly done that? Just me then. Right. Okay? Strike a conversation. By this time, you would have enough information to strike a conversation by then. If he has an iPad, if he has an iPhone, you could ask him, I'm thinking of switching from Samsung to iPhone. What do you, how's your phone? He would tell you. Okay?
You won't think you're nuts doing
No, you won't.
that.
You can ask the panelists, you can ask the men on the panel as well. Believe me. As I'll say. Okay? That's week number 9. Each day, ask 2 men. This isn't week 9. I want you each day to ask 2 men for the time and say thank you so much, and have a fantastic day, smile and walk on. Drop something in the supermarket, hanky, tangerine, banana, something soft. You want me?
Drop something.
When he picks it up, say thank you so much and say hi, my name is Rajan, and watch him take control from there and give your dating business card. Call your partner from today and share ideas and experiences and encourage each other as well. Okay? So you're communicating with your partner at this point as well. Plan to attend an event together, a singles event.
Halloween party, Halloween.
Halloween, yeah. And email me a weekly update. So after each week, I want an email of an update. Week 10, sport. Men love a woman who likes sport, if he's interested in sport, and plus it's also a turn on. Now some of you in there, how many of you there hate sport, honestly? Right. And those of you that hated sport, have you dated a man that loves sport?
Yes.
Was it problems?
Yes.
Yes, I can see. Right. Problems. Now remember, in relation to that, remember, it's not all about you. And I guarantee you there's things that he dislikes that you do, maybe EastEnders or Coronation Street or whatever. And it's a two-way thing. And I bet there was problems with the sport as well. If you hated it and then he wants to watch it and then you don't want to watch it and then there's a problem. Join sports groups, football, rugby, cricket, basketball, golf, boxing. Places, these are where men hang out online. So just join them, communicate. These are where men are going to be, in abundance. Educate yourself about top sporting stories. Attend a popular football match at a wine bar in your area and a central area within 2 weeks. Someone from here today. So use your partner for that exercise as well. Doesn't have to be football, it could be rugby, but there will be an event happening from there as well. Ask a man you know about the top games. If you're not too clued up, ask a man that you know. Okay, there's a top game coming on, or what's this Champions League? There might be a Champions League semi-final going on, or whatever, a big popular game. He may say, yeah, it's on I don't know, January the 29th, and you know that's what you need to plan to make yourself available around there as well. Pop into your local sports shops and browse and look for men that you like. Champions League. These are the main events that take part. Okay, there's Champions League, there's Premiership games, and the advantage of this is that you will stand out. Now, this is a prime example. There's a woman there sitting there. That's you, and it's Sean there.
What, in the barrel?
Do you reckon this woman stands out? Yeah? And I guarantee you, if you're in that environment like that, men will approach you. Now I guarantee a lot of her friends are not there.
But not one of the men is looking over at her or in her direction.
This is just
except the man.
This is just the Google Images image. Literally, there wasn't a game going on there to reflect her.
Anna, look at the guy not up to the right. Go back a minute, look at the far right. Who do you think he's looking at?
Well, he's pointing.
His mate, the crossbar, I would have
You can't believe it's right.
Yeah. Okay. Week 11, how to get several dates from social media. How many of you here are on any of these? Actually, 1 second. We'll go back to that one. Who's not on LinkedIn? Okay, who's not on Meetup? Who's not on Facebook? Who's not on Tinder? Who doesn't know what Tinder is? Right.
Yes, can I just share a story? Recently, I had somebody contact me on LinkedIn, and I didn't realise that I thought the name was female. So I invited to have tea with him, coffee. I invited him to meet my mum, and then he sent me a photo of him, and I said, "Oh, he's nice. Who's he? It's me." And I thought, shit.
I want to go around and invite people to your house.
No, I didn't. I mean, until I saw the photograph, and I thought it was unfair that he hadn't had his photo on LinkedIn. So stopped it there.
Okay. Well, who believes that there are lots of men out there that you can meet from these platforms? Yeah? Who doesn't believe that? You don't believe that? There's not one man. There's not one man that you could meet that would be interested in you from any of these. Right. How many of you have used any of those to possibly subtly get in communication with a guy that you like the look of? Okay. How many of you knew that if you knew how to do that, you reckon you'd have possibly more dates? Yep. Right. If we said to you, say for example, 10 years ago, you was told there would be this social media network that you can connect with everybody throughout the world, people in your area, and there's men in your area that you can connect to and find out their friends' friends, and get information on them and look at what they're doing on a daily basis and see their pictures and see their profiles and see if they're maybe possibly single or not, you most of you would say that would be a goldmine for you, would it not? Right. This is what this can do as well. And there's people that are taking advantage of this, but there needs to be a way that you do it. Sports groups, I keep making reference to that because that's more like where men are going to hang out. Men's clothing groups. I went on a shirt, I think I typed in shirts, classy shirts, and there's thousands of men on there talking about their shirts and stuff on there as well. Find what interests him. He's going to tell you what he's interested in by the groups he's joining, by the conversations he's having on social media, and build a rapport. Oh hi, I noticed that you liked that exclusive shirt from Next or whatever shop you want to refer to. Strike a conversation. Make it light-hearted. Find out where the location is, but he needs to be in London. Comment on his interests. Boost our ego. Oh, that's really great that you won that award, or it's really great that you achieved that. Really good that you had a good day at work, or it's really good that you took your daughter out for the day at wherever he went. What was the day like for you? How did your daughter find it? And that is how you can find out whether you're compatible or not. So week 10, I want you to apply this 30 minutes every day before you go to bed. Does that make sense? That's week 11. Doing this from your home every day. Week 12, final week, wrapping up. Has it been good so far? Yeah. Interesting. Some stuff that you can take. I know each one of those you're not going to apply. You may think I'm a bit crazy, but some of you may think, hey, that's a good idea. But I guarantee you, you start applying a lot of these, you have a lot of dates. Week 12, I want you to self-assess. What have you learned about men and yourself? And I want you to send me that. It's the 12th week. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to know you haven't been doing a lot. And I'll also see you here next year. Which I don't want to be. That's my email. And I want to know, did you come out of your comfort zone? What did you do that you found wasn't as comfortable? What was your best and worst experience? I need to know this. And are you dating anyone? And what events are you attending over the next 3 weeks? I need to know what events you're attending. So you must change from today. From today onwards, I need you to start to change. Now, you know this is not going to happen, don't you? Unless you change. Nothing's going to change from today unless you start to change. If you keep doing the same things, expecting a different result, the definition of insanity, as you know. Do you want things to improve? Yeah. No? Yes? So, how would you like me to help you to find that right man in a few weeks? Can you just... Fiona, can you just hand out those? I've got some sheets there, please. It's going to take a few minutes and I'm going to wrap up. Now, a lot of you, some of you have emailed me and asked about my services. What do I provide outside of these 12 weeks? So you're all going to be given a sheet of paper here of my services, what I provide. I'm just going to briefly go over that in a couple of minutes. These girls are going to give them out to you. Now I'm providing 3 different services here: bronze, a silver and a gold. Now, one of the services that I provide is I accompany women to events, whether they're dating events, whether they're weddings, whether they're christenings or parties, where I accompany you at these events, and I guarantee that every man that you like in that arena, you will communicate with. And by repetition, by you keep doing that, you would not only really have the dates that you're looking for, you have me there with you, and also this will significantly increase your chances. So as you can see, for the bronze, I provide email coaching, as you can see there, it's usually £27, telephone session is £97. I have 5 personal development and dating ebooks. That's total value of £279, and today only I'm going to provide that for £97. The silver, you get the 3. Now with regards to the emails could be that you could email me exactly your story. It might be stuff that you want to just share or just want to get off your chest that you want some advice on. That's what I provide for that as well. It can be as long as you want, but there is exceptions, 15 pages max. You get 2 telephone sessions, telephone coaching sessions. You get 10 personal development and dating ebooks. Total value for that is £545. Today only, that's £197. And the last thing at the end is you get the 5 email package, 3 telephone sessions, you get a face-to-face, and I accompany you at an event which is usually £497. Total value £1,075, and today only for £397. So those of you that are interested in any of that, come and contact me at the end of the evening. We're going to have a break now. We're going to have those guys coming up on stage. We're going to go straight. Okay, one sec. So, thank you. That's coming to the wrap up for that. Hope that was helpful. Is there even one tip you can use from that? I know there's 12 weeks, but is there one thing that you're going to take away from that? Okay, good. But is there anything that you're not going to take? Not one thing you're going to apply. Is there one thing you can apply from that? Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring JB